So very happy to be here. So let me start by introducing myself. And so I'm Yves Filippucci. I'm the VP of offline to online digital transformation for Eurasia and Middle East region. Today, I want to have a discussion with you on the transformation and in a network world. So we are with the pandemic, we have been involved in a great transfer, in a huge, immense transformation phase, which no company, no people were expecting that. So that's why we had to adapt our way of working, our personal life, and the companies has to go to change all whatever they knew right. So that's why I wanted so that's why I decided to share some of the growth pillars that I believe it's the right thing to do during those exponential times. So there is a new world order right now. No, there is a hyper connectivity. There are a lot of solutions that are popping up every single day that is actually invading our personal life, our work life at the same time. You see now there's a huge contact-free experiences going on. There are hands-free queries. There are a lot of things going on in supply chain, healthcare, etc. But in the meantime, there are a lot of tensions. There are a lot of dualism that we are trying to live at the same time. We are connected, but we are also divided. There are a lot of people working at home. We are still not really connecting ourselves with people that we were used to. So thanks to this connectivity, we are global, but we are also local. So there is a lot of dualism like this that are really making our lives even more complex than it was. With that, there is also some new shifts on experiential shifts that we are really experiencing. So there is more virtual everything. There's more hands-free, more gaming, more gamification, more loyalty, more hybrid events. And there is a lot of more technology that are appearing every day, as I was mentioning, on fintech, on supply chain, on sustainability. And this is changing the way that companies are operating for the last 10, 20 years. So while I was mentioning the network world. So we are used to the word, the omni-channel world, where we put the consumer, the customer at the center, and you are bombarding from different channels whatever you want to share. But is it enough? I feel that it is not anymore, because now we've been in a stage for a while where the consumer or the customer were already connected. What I mean in connected is meaning that were not only connected through social media, but they were also connected through their gaming, right? So probably there are a lot of you that are playing some games, either from your consoles or your PCs, whatever, your mobile. You are really, playing a game with some of your friends online, and it's not that, it's you are sharing an experience with them. You are connected to them at that specific moment. So how can a brand can envision what you are really living in that moment with your friends and can be part of it? So the connection is beyond now a channel. It's really peer-to-peer. And beyond that, now in a network world, it's even beyond the connected. So it's not connected one or two, three people. It's millions of people sharing information to each other. Either, now gaming was one example. Another example is health. All the devices that we are carrying with us, could be a mobile phone, could be a watch, could be even now glasses. They are now all connected and transmitting information about us, about our mood, about our health, so how can the companies can be very proactive in such a active data sharing environment? I think no company is ready to that level. So that's why it is important to know how to reboot. We have to start really reboot ourselves, our minds, our way of working, start to renew and rebuild. And it is not an easy task, even though you are an agile startup or you are an incumbent, a big giant like Coca-Cola, which I am. So that's why whatever you want to transform, it should start with the culture. You have to build the right culture that will embed into a strong strategy, long-lasting strategy, and then obviously to execution. But culture, I think it's the what is the most important thing here that could create the right mindset and the right behavior beyond what you want to change, what you want to build from scratch. Because culture for me is should be, I think, one company's a shared belief attitude, and it written or unwritten, it doesn't matter. But what is important is the culture is people, so is us in the company who are making it. So because we make it together, so that's why it is very important to select the right people to will drive the change, who will look for to bring the new attitudes, the new behaviors in the company, and to make everyone in the company part of it, which is the most, I think, difficult piece of this equation. There is a huge mindset changing approach needed, especially in those exponential times. And so that's why it is important to, while changing the culture or building a new culture in place, it is really important to have the people with open-minded, happy to change, happy to challenge the status quo, and to really enjoy the unknown out there. So let's deep dive a little bit into the how can we cope with this change, and you can build this this new culture. We are in a VUCA world. VUCA means volatility, uncertainty, complexity, ambiguity. It's totally where we are standing right now. Especially the ones who are in Turkey are used to it for 20, maybe 50 years. But this also brings opportunities. Those kinds of worlds brings opportunities. With opportunities, obviously, the business dynamics are changing. Now, with digital taking over everything, you can see that the technology is trying to reduce the intensity of people, of the one single look of a product, and obviously stability. Instead, now what is bringing it's coming to more importantly is information. Obviously, the way to look to the technology and services differs to, so it evolved to platforms, to create platforms, ecosystems. And obviously now revenue and or impact is the main thing that the companies should deliver consistently every day. But how to make it in such a world? How you could still motivate people to create the right culture, to the right attitudes into it. So looking to VUCA, I think there is another way to look to this world. First of all, I totally believe that volatility is nothing, but you should start with a vision. Now, when you set the right vision, a flexible vision, it starts and you make people believe in it. Then you will be doing the right the first homework that you should do. To create a vision that people believe, that buy it, and wants to really to always follow that vision. It's what you need to do. The second one is to understand to understand people, understand the environment, and by assessing what is going on, to be super clear on what you want to do and how you want to do. Clarity is the key word to overcome the complexity, to overcome the ambiguity that that can reduce the performance of your people. And obviously, flexibility and agility is a must. Is the must own attitude and behavior they would like to have, because now we see a world where we also need to work as a network way, not anymore like a hierarchical top-down approach, but more of a, we call it asynchronous, in Coke, empowered, flexible and agile teams. So the more you can split the problem into pieces with people, dedicated people that could work asynchronously, that can have the empowerment to drive the issue together, to work together, and ended up to a success. Even though to a failure, it doesn't matter, but to fail together and to succeed together is key. To have the accountability to work together in a flexible way is the way that we want to move in a network way or organization. For example, just also to give you an example, how it was a pilot, but I think it was a great success, and now this will be replicated in all over the world in Coke. There was, in Coke, usually if you want to do a global launch of a product from scratch, it takes at least 9 months, considering the production or the concept, then to create the product itself, the production, the testing, etc. Putting into the shelves takes usually 9 months. With this new way of working, we created a team that work 24/7 all over the world. So think of a marketing team, for example, or an agile team, let's say, that it's consisting of marketing, finance, supply chain, commercial, you name it. But they are situated in different regions in the world, and they are working very asynchronously, but they are working together. For example, let's see that there is a marketing team sitting one people in US, another one in Europe, another one in APAC. So the person in APAC start the day. So that person has the duty of that day and they start working. When at midday, the person in Europe starts the day. So then they start exchanging information. They do sometimes the same thing, or they collaborate together on something, or they do other stuff that they should do. And then when it's night, it's in APAC, it's midday in Europe, and it's morning in the US, then the US start working as well. So you are creating actually an organization that work in marketing, organization that work for 24/7 actually. So with that approach, and obviously this relies to finance, to supply chain, to all the other functions at the same time. So with that approach, we were able to launch Topo Chico hard seltzer brand and products only in 3 months, and to launch it in the US, in LATAM, in APAC, in few markets in APAC, and few markets in Europe. So you could see that it is working. It's hard. However, it is doable. So, and we are calling it the exponential teams. So that's why, as a mindset, what you have to focus is to move from collaboration to coordination. So how to coordinate yourself with your peers around the world to be focused on one goal and to make it happen. So that's why, while creating those exponential teams, those team members has to be adaptable, scalable, and self-manageable. So, and those are the new behaviors that we need to embed in our new team structures. With that said, as I told you, we need to reboot, right? So reboot starts with unlearning and then relearning what we knew, because what we knew so far is probably out of question. So it's not reliable anymore. So being able to unlearn what we already knew and relearn something new, again, it's another behavior that we are trying we need to implement and to need to teach how to do it with us, with our and also with our teams. It is crucial to be part of this new mindset, because otherwise, especially within this new world that I was mentioning in my first slide, it is not possible to survive in the next few months even. So, and one of the most disruption thing is how to deal with the data, immense data that we are sorting out every day right now. Because the data was always there, but now companies, people, as automation, technology is helping us to sort that data, to arrange the data, to create insight out of it, and to create a story behind out of it, and that when you are able to make it this in a proactive way, then you are able to move beyond your peers, beyond your competitors, and you start really shaping your company's future. So that's why it is also critical to have this to make data in the core of whatever you do, because it's not only to deal with the data, but also to start understanding your customer even better than you knew on a real-time basis. So that's why you start as a mindset. You need to start act as a concierge. Why as a concierge? Because I like this analogy, because a concierge has the ability to listen and have the empathy with guests. You know, guests often don't know what they want, so um, so the concierge asks directly the right questions to understand what they really want. So that person, a concierge, he or she is resourceful, which requires a good network, you know, and the determination not to take a no for an answer. So again, to have a good network will help the concierge in this network well as well. A concierge is a rounded, is a balanced person, and never stop learning. So that a concierge is always feeding himself or herself through data. And the concierge have the ability to engage clients in intelligent, in informed conversation. So he or she can create great experiences for its customers. So that's why it is important to really understand the signals. Is it a noise or is it a signal? So how can you transform a signal with an insight to a service? How you can make happy your customers and then create a even better experience to make that customers loyal to your brand or to your company. So overall, what I was trying to make is we have 6 right to win growth pillars at the end. But just to wrap up, in this network world, it's all about data. There are a lot of data coming in, coming out. So when you will be able to learn how to deal with this data, you will be able to create the culture, to deal with the data, based on the data that you have seen, you have learned, to unlearn what you knew already, and to relearn the new dynamics. While doing that, to create a culture with clarity, with empowerment, with flexibility and agility, blended with coordination, will create an exponential team which will be focused on to deliver maximum consumer or customer satisfaction at the highest level. That will bring your brand or your team, your company to success in this network world. So I don't know how I've done with the time, but this was actually few thoughts that I had to share with you. I hope it was you enjoyed it.
We have one question actually from Beton. Maybe it's a general question, but you can direct it as you want.
What is best marketing for startups? Okay. So it depends on what do you mean with marketing. So, okay, digital marketing. Again, for me, digital marketing it's quite a big topic. But okay, let me start from this one. So the first thing for me is starting with understanding your consumer or your customer, which start with data. So for me, marketing starts with the right data, because I'm a huge believer on personalization. With this new world, mass advertising, mass communication doesn't fit anymore. So you cannot bring your brand or your company to another level unless you are having a direct contact with your customer. So for me, is first of all understanding or learning anything that you can have from your for your consumer. So for someone is first party data, for another one is is social listening. For someone else, it's could be financial data. It depends, but at least start learning what you want to really understand from your customer, and then to start making some audiences is key. You know, to if you are able to do it on a one-on-one basis, to get in contact with millions of consumers or customers on a one-on-one basis is the best, obviously. If not, then based on your agenda, what you want to achieve as a company, to start to identify the right sweet spots where you can really attract your consumers and start communicating your proposition to them on a personal basis. Could be, again, could be through social media, could be wherever is suitable. Could be sometimes, you know, professionals. It depends. But it is for me. This is the best way to approach, and the way that I think the companies should start doing marketing as of now.
Okay, thank you so much. Actually, we have a few more questions right now. I'm just checking them. Let me publish the first one. Actually, it's a specific question, but it's about medical field pharmacy. How can we apply your strategy in medical field pharmacy? It's so specific, but would you like to comment on it?
Well, so I don't have a strong background on medical field. However, what I was a few years ago, I was chatting with one of the CEOs of the big pharmaceutical companies in Turkey, a global one, and we were chatting on how can we transform the way to approach the doctors through digital. So that's why we were chatting, and first of all, agility. So to create flexible teams was the first thing that we were discussing, and it's not only about to create agile teams within the company, but how to because only having agile teams in your company, it's not enough. Your whole ecosystem should also be agile, so they should work agile. So what I mean, so for example, from our hands, when we are working with could be technology companies, could be agencies, we are expecting also them to work in an agile way. Then you can really create this agility everywhere in your ecosystem. So that was the first thing that we were discussing with them, how to change, or not change, but upskill and reskill the field team that are dealing with pharmacies, with doctors, and to give them some new skills. Maybe they won't be able to visit anymore, the doctors or the pharmacy one by one, but how to leverage some digital technologies, digital platforms that could support them in doing their daily work. So that was what we start discussing. And I know that they have implemented some of those stuff in their daily life. But so that is the first thing that came to my mind. I hope it helps.
Thank you. I think you explained a lot. I will continue. There's a question from Şükrü Görgülü. This may be a theoretical question. Learning, unlearning, and relearning processes are not easy as they seem. What would you suppose to make it easier?
It's not. It's not, because you say to the people that whatever you knew until now, it's gone, game over. So it's not easy to accept that. So that's why that's why I think it is really important to start with to build the culture. Now, if you go and say, you know what, whatever you know, it's already gone, but without building the culture of being open, to this, it won't work. So that's why I started with culture, actually. So to start building the fundamentals on revamping a new company culture, to be open to this mindset, to start actually make people work together in some of the teams and face, a failure, actually. So and sometimes maybe it could be not always a real case, could be a virtual case, but let them feel the failure, let them feel that whatever they knew doesn't work anymore. Because when they experience it, it's much easier for people to change immediately, because everyone wants to succeed at the end. So, and no, I know it from myself. Many years ago, I thought that I knew everything. I launched something in 3 days. In 3 days, I understood that my strategy that I put for the last 3 months was already in the trash. It wasn't working. So I had to build a new one in 24 hours. Not only by myself, with my team, with my partners. We all work very hard, but by learning what we didn't know in 24 hours. Then we tested for the next, we were ready in 24 hours. We launched it again. We tested for I think 2 days. We saw that it was working, and then we continue. So that's why it's important to create the culture of empowerment, of giving the space to fail, and then the unlearning comes much easier.
Thank you. Maybe it's a little bit related question, because not all the companies give the space for changing this culture. It's a question from Pirit. As you mentioned, collaboration is better than cooperation, but how can we achieve this in a tall hierarchy in a corporate company? As it runs with centralized federation, all colleagues are in, but bureaucracy is the biggest obstacle for us.
Yes, this is usually what we are seeing everywhere, especially in big companies. So again, if you believe, what we can do is to. So, is it the only one who believes in this? I'm sure there should be many other people that have the same thoughts with you. So what I would do, which I've seen also some other examples, and which I also did, I think 6 or 7 years ago, it was really to find the right people with you, come together, challenge, and put the pain point in front of you, and think how what is the pain point, not only for you, but what is the pain point of the company. And if you would think yourself as a CEO of this company, what would you do to change that pain point? How would you tackle it? And bringing this new collaboration or this cooperation mindset to solve this problem, and you come up with something together with your team members, and you ask your bosses, or the people who are above in the hierarchy, no one will say no to you. No, they will always be open to listen to any of any solution that can support the company's success. So that's why, even though in the deepest hierarchy or the higher hierarchical company, CEOs or people are really open to hear new solutions, new methodologies. So, but you don't need to ask for permission. Do it, then you can ask for forgiveness. So that's what I've done in one of the hierarchical company. It worked, and I can see also every day here in Coke. Coke is a big company. It has its hierarchical ways, which we are trying to eliminate. Now, I'm part of the leadership team. I don't care if if let's say an assistant brand manager is knocking on my door every day. On the contrary, I'm really happy. So we are trying to remove those boundaries and this thinking. But the company that doesn't have it right still, they would be always opening the doors to any different kind of proposition that will solve the pain points of the company, but not ask for permission. Do it.
It's maybe the best slogan ever. Do it. Right. Thank you so much. We have lots of questions. We will try to answer them as much as possible. Thank you so much for all the questions. I will continue with another one. Let me just choose one. Maybe it's a little bit general again. It's from Mohammed Gedik. First of all, thank you for your beautiful presentation. It was a presentation that showed that digital marketing is a tool, not a goal. So what do you think about the point where this will evolve? Where will there be a big changes in digital marketing in 5 years?
Yeah, there is always a question on what do you think about the next 5 years. I cannot guarantee you the next 6 months in this world. So it's really difficult, to answer the next 5 years. I don't know, really. I don't know. I can tell you, what. So first of all, it is important so that's why it is important to have flexible teams, flexible mindset, because probably in 6 or 8 months, whatever you are focusing right now won't be anymore your focus points. No, it will change. Your team structure will need to change. Your focus areas will change. So, as you said, digital marketing is not a goal. It's how wisely you are leveraging it. When I used to be a commercial and marketing guy 10 years ago, but then I decided to expand my experience with some digital, which back then it was about few Facebook posts and selling few items on e-commerce. And for me, it was all. But then when I joined a global digital team in my previous company at Nestle, I realized how important is to leverage the digital capabilities, in your case, digital marketing capabilities, and blend it with your commercial background. and finding solutions to companies' pain points. So that's why it is important to be ready to any disruption that we cannot envision right now. Today we have the obvious. For example, I can talk about the especially on digital marketing, the cookieless world that is coming in, the new let's say CXP technologies that will probably hopefully solve that point. How first party data is important. Yes, this is probably and how the digital ad technologies will evolve. So those are our probably current issues that we are trying to tackle, to some unknowns still, but we are trying to get a solution right now. Probably in 8 months we'll have other ones, on top of them. So, and I don't know what will be. So that's why I like this world. That's why I don't want to go back to my previous commercial and marketing world, because I'm really enjoying this uncertainty. So it's like 5 years for me. It's too much ahead. I'm not thinking it. We as company like Coke, we need to put some 5 years plans because we are in the in stock market, etc. We're doing some plans, but it's just on paper. In Coke, those 5 years plans are reviewed every year. So it's not the 5 years plan that we were doing it 5 years or 10 years ago, which we were putting it every 5 years, and was it? No, we are doing it as actually every year. We are renewing our vision, our long-term vision every year, and so that's why flexibility is what you seek for, because I mean, as I told you, what we are seeking right now is really short term, and I don't think it will be a long term thing, even though it's in digital marketing.
Thank you. There is lots of unknown things about the future, and it's better be flexible, as you said. We have actually a few minutes more. If you would like to answer maybe 2 more questions.
Sure.
Okay. What are the best ways to migrate or update it in the digital communication marketing on traditional to modern in the same company of Coca-Cola?
Yeah. So first of all, I think the first thing, as I told you, is to start digging on the consumer. Now, let's put it that way. For us, we have two main points: the customer, which is the retailer, if you like. This for us is customer, and the consumer/shopper. So our aim is to delight both of them. So because we have to win in the store, and then we need to win also with shopper and consumer at the same time. Now, so that's why the communication piece now every day is for us is to really to go from Coke used to be a mass communication company, right? So we love to do everything mass, big, bold, which will continue obviously, but it's not relevant as it was on the last 5-10 years. So that's why we are really focused now on to collect first party data. And while saying first party data, it's not names, addresses. It's not really that. It's really to understand the path from from to reach a product until the consumption, and then the feeling that we are putting in their minds. So that's why for us it's a matter of a funnel. The communication is always built on few funnels. So the first one is the recruitment. So how you delight the consumers to come to us. Come to us meaning come to grab a Coke from the shelf, or to come to a platform that is owned by Coke because we are delighting them in a way. Then it comes the engagement. Okay, how we can create a strong bond with those consumers to make them happy, to make them happy to spend time with us, which requires another set of communication. And then it comes the repurchase piece. How we can really ensure that that person will continue to buy Coke products. How we can, again, delight them to buy the second one or third one and fourth one. And then it comes the loyalty / advocacy phase. How we can create content or whatever communication that will make them actually Coke being part of their hearts, so they can continue to be our advocate in any way and influence other consumers, other shoppers, and also customers, to be an advocate of Coke. It's all in chained ecosystem, because when you start recruit the right people, right? People and customers. They are working in sync. So happy customers will create happy consumers, and happy consumers we may also create new customers at the same end. So that's why this is the loop that we are trying to follow, very high level, obviously. And each phase requires a new communication sets, new communication ways. It's all embedded on the online and offline world together, and including even the events. For our events, it's even a piece of the communication that will to drive brand love at the same time. So it's the way. So if we put the principles to have to fill the funnel is the first phase, and then the communication piece comes in a second layer, based on how you would like to approach to your audience.
Okay, thank you so much. Actually, we had our time. Thank you for everything. Thank you for all the information and all the insights. Thank you for being here with us, Digitalzone 21.
Thank you, Daniel. Thank you for accepting me here, and all the best on the rest of the day and tomorrow.
Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.